was looking for a robotic sander to help us get through our workload without employing somebody. That we're the first one to put your machine into this country. With your background coming from the industry, you knew what we needed. They said, this guy's mad. He's telling us to sand with 180. And I said, did he? And they said, yeah. I said, well, sand it with 180 and we'll just see what happens. My painter come back out and he said, mate, I don't believe this. 180 and you can't see a swirl mark in it. And the way you showed these guys to prep it and to put it on that, like prime it, put it on the machine, 1.5 minutes for a shaker. We're spending anywhere between 8 to 15 minutes sanding shaker panels. You put a table at the end of that machine and you can feed a 9 metre board on there. You just keep working it.
Yep.
Because the camera picks it up and will work that. So you can do that, and then while that machine's doing that, your guy's doing something else, doing edges, something like that. To me, that machine's doing everything that we need to do. I don't believe it. It did the veneer without going through the veneer because it's got constant pressure and the pressure doesn't change.
Yep.
And that's it works on that axis.
Yep.
So the pressure's there the same all the way. That's why that 180 sandpaper mark it works.
It works.
If we did that 180 on the bench, you'd have scratches in it.
Yep.
Because we change pressure all the time.
Yep.
Where this is just and as my painter and you would have seen when he picked that panel up and commented, he said it's the best paint panel that we've done.
Yep.
It just brought our standard up another notch.
Yep.
On the finish, and he's a good painter, but he said like that's just unbelievable. It's just so smooth. That pressure, it's cutting it off even.
Yep.
That panel it's like a sheet of glass. I learned from you for this. I believe in this machine, and I can tell that the after sales service is going to be second to none. Come in here on a weekend and show them. If I'm in town, I'll come in on the weekend and show them. Mark Russell from Specialised Spray Painting. I've got a small shop in Hobart, Tasmania. I was looking for a robotic sander to help us get through our workload without employing somebody. That was, as everyone knows, in a small business, you get that phone call, I can't come in Monday and I've got to take the day off because I'm sick. You sort of get a bit over that in the sense that you're losing downtime.
Exactly.
Our customers don't like hearing that, that we ring them up and say, hey, listen, we can't do your goods today because my guys haven't turned up. Looking at a robotic sander, I did a lot of research, YouTube and on the internet. There's probably 3 sanders that come to mind that I looked at.
Yep.
I was in negotiation with one company.
Oh.
But the people in question just weren't treating me right. I could sense that the after sales service wasn't going to be there. The machine, as we found out later on, when we found your machine, wasn't up to the standards of your machine. Their machine wouldn't do a full panel, like a larger door for us. You had to place the door on a specific area. If you didn't get that right, the machine wouldn't go. If you bumped the sensor, the machine wouldn't go. The interface pad on that machine, you had to have a university degree to run it.
I would love to know, when you were looking at robotic sanders, how did you justify the machine expense for yourself?
The expense really isn't, if you say, okay, that machine's hypothetically 150,000, 170,000, you don't look at that expense because you're replacing another pair of hands in the workshop. I look at it as a wage. So over that period of time that you're paying that machine off, it's only a wage, but that wage is there every day. It doesn't call in sick. You haven't got compo on it. You haven't got holiday pay. That machine, if you want to work that machine 24/7, it's there. It's not going to say, I'm
so
over.
If you have a busy day, you know that you have a person or a machine to rely on. If you needed to.
And that's why we feel robotics is actually coming. I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime in my industry, but it's here.
It's here.
It's here. We're the first one to put your machine into this country.
Yes. What do you think about when you see the machine for the first time?
For the first time, we thought, wow, are we going to be able to run this? My boys, when I told them I was going to buy a robotic sander, they told me I was mad. I could see the future coming.
Yep.
There, and it's hard to put an old head on young shoulders. I said to them, right, I'll do this and set it up, and then you guys can run it.
Yep.
But now that we've put that machine in,
Yep.
with the 3 days training that you've done with my guys,
Yep.
they're running that machine.
Pretty much.
They were all up in arms, putting it in, it's scared, and virtually they've got that machine down in 3 days.
Yeah.
We've just got a bit of fine tweaking here and there,
Definitely.
which is on everything that you put into a workshop.
Yeah.
We just got to work out our sanding and our sandpapers and the way it works for us. That machine is brilliant in the workshop. You've got to feed it the right panels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you met us for the first time, it was over a video call.
Yes.
What impression did you get from us when we were talking about the machine? Because you had already seen some other machine. What impression did you get from us? How easy was it to understand the machine? And what we told you during the introduction?
Well, you can remember the first contact. I emailed you.
Yep.
And within, I'd say, an hour of emailing you, you responded to my email. And we started talking then.
Yep.
You offered for me to come to Canada to look at the machine. And this is what got you over the line, is you said to me, why don't you come over to Canada to look at the machine to see whether it suits your business? So I thought straight away, I've got somebody honest here that's not just wanting to sell a machine. You were giving me the opportunity to come there, and whether I walked away saying yes or no, I could feel I wasn't going to be pressured. And I haven't been pressured anyway through it. Any questions that I asked you about the machine, you answered it and then give me more. and Phil, my business partner, when we walked away from the meeting, he said, that guy just gave us more than what we asked for. He said, how do you feel? I said, I think we're on the right track. We are on the right track. You can see the after sales service is going to be there.
Yep.
And with you coming over to Australia now to install this machine, that's a big thing for one machine.
Yep.
To get that machine over here and to do what you're doing for us, setting it up, and I can tell that the after sales service is going to be second to none. Where your opposition was going to be none. So that's a big plus for your company.
Definitely.
And if anyone that wants to come to Tasmania, look at the machine, ask me questions.
Yeah.
Outside of it, I'm quite willing to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah, no worries at all. And
My
that's
big
without
thing is,
any ties to you at all.
Definitely.
I think
no,
we should
my
do
big
it.
thing is that when you also wanted to, I always tell my customers is that, hey, you bring your doors to our facility, you test on your doors and your panels,
Yes.
and you'll get the best idea. I don't claim that I can do everything, but I can tell you this is that I can make the machine work for you. Like what you're doing right now is you're saying, hey, what sandpaper works for me, what speed works for me, and what quality works for me. That's the whole process we want to go over with anyone. Like even if they're coming to Tasmania with you, I'd say bring your doors, see what works for you, that when we come over, it makes our life easier because we know you already tested it, everything.
Well, when you told my guys to sand with 180,
Yeah.
they said, this guy's mad. He's telling us to sand with 180. And I said, did he? And I said, yeah. I said, well, sand it with 180 and we'll just see what happens. My painter come back out and he said, mate, I don't believe this. 180 and you can't see a swirl mark in it. One coat of primer.
Yeah.
One coat of primer, that's unheard of. The time to set the panel up, and that's the key here, is to set that panel up properly.
Yep.
Don't try and feed that machine with rubbish. Feed that machine with what you're supposed to,
Yep.
and you get the results.
Yeah.
A minute and a half to sand a shaker door after it's been prepped properly.
Yep.
And the way you showed these guys to prep it and to put it on that, like prime it,
Yep.
put it on the machine, a minute and a half for a shaker. We're spending anywhere between 8 to 15 minutes sanding shaker panels. So
Yeah.
the the proof's in the pudding there.
Yeah, we tested out like, hey, what works for you, and be it with 180 or 320, we figured out that 180 works, and 180 actually improves the performance and gives you better results.
I would never have dreamt that myself. 180, we sand the panel up with 180 to prime it, so it adheres to it.
Yep.
So to sand, primer, and paint it with 180,
It
it blew us all away. The money you're saving there in sandpapers, primer, labour is just a no-brainer.
Yeah. Everything adds up step by step.
You're saving all the way through, so the cost of the machine, when you were saying about costings, doesn't come into it. Because it's a wage that you got to think it's a wage I'm paying here.
Yeah.
But that wage has just increased my productivity by 50%.
Mm-hmm.
My bottom line's probably gone up at least minimum 20%.
Yeah.
If not more. So it's only early stages for me to work that out, but I can see 20% like that.
I want to bring you to the next question I have is analytics and traceability, because that actually flows in is that let me put an open-ended question and then we'll shift the conversation a little bit. What do you think about the analytics and traceability that I showed you with this machine?
That in itself is going to be great.
And a free upgrade, a free thing. Yeah, it's not even upgrade, it's a free thing.
It's free. It's that's right. It's not an upgrade to the opposition. So to go back and have that information for your business, so I can go back into that machine and have a look at how many panels I've done, how many square meters I've done. Then I can go back and say to my painters, right, we've painted 50 panels. We've used 25 litres of primer. Why? What's going on? We're only supposed to be using this amount.
Yeah.
So you can nip your wastage in a bud straight away.
Exactly.
You can, within the first month of that machine operating, you'll get your costings down.
Pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I also think that since we have that order ID number that you put, you can actually trace your product and say, hey, how much margin did I make on that particular order itself? How many doors was I? How much did I expect? How much did I make? Because you know the primer cost, you know how much primer you use, everything. So.
You just come up with something that we've been trying to work out how we can put into this workshop. Once we've got our order number on there, our job number, the traceability of that job, of what that job's cost us.
Yep.
Now we sand it up on the sander. That's telling me the meterage rate.
Yep.
So then I can go to my painter and say, right, you've just sanded 12 square meters up. So he'll go to the website to mix the paint.
Yep.
Punch 12 square meters into their formula, and it'll tell him that he might need 1.1 litres of paint instead of mixing up 2 litres of paint, just looking at it and saying, oh, I think I'll need 2 litres there.
Yeah.
Your 900 mil of paint saving straight away.
Yeah.
So your wastage in paint will come down.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Like materials is a big thing in business now. It doesn't. Materials are not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's labour. Labour will always outweigh your materials.
Definitely, but if you can save on, I believe if you can save on material, it still is a saving.
Yeah.
It's still adding to your bottom line.
Well, the way the world's going, you can't keep putting prices up.
Yes.
So you've got to save somewhere to keep that margin that you've got without losing your customers.
Definitely.
So without increasing, you decrease your costs.
Definitely.
And you can still hold your pricing, and you'll hold your customers. But if you keep putting prices up as everything else is going up around you, you'll lose customers. They'll drop off. So
no one wants to pay.
No, you're up one, down the other, but it's an even.
It's even.
You'll turn over the same amount of money.
What was the one thing that you said? Or not one, but what are the things that you said? Like that's what I said. One, I don't think so. You might be.
There was multiple. There was multiple. The main one was with the other machine. You had to put that panel on in a certain spot. It had to be within an area where the sensor picked it up. If you bumped the sensor, the machine wouldn't work. It more or less went into a bit of a cradle. It wouldn't take the larger doors like I think we just sanded one that was 1.7 long.
1.7 meter, yeah.
That machine wouldn't take that. It wouldn't. You can't do half and half like on your machine.
Yeah.
So you had to upgrade. That's an upgrade.
Oh,
and then you're still limited on what you can do.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're still limited.
So we did like last couple of days back. We did like what, 4 meter long panel, one
exactly.
the sealer one.
I was just going to say, you put a table at the end of that machine, and you can feed a 9 meter board on there. You just keep working it.
Yep.
Because the camera picks it up and will work that. So you can do that, and then while that machine's doing that, your guy's doing something else, doing edges, something like that.
What about edge sanding? It's like this. The company is like very big into edge sanding. We don't do that. What did you think about that?
You haven't lost nothing there. By not having an edge sander on your machine, the opposition edge sander, you had to pick the panel back up anyway. It would only do, I think it was 2 edges, so you had to pick the panel up, rotate it, put it down to do that again. By the time you do that, you could have that done by hand, and what you do is you master the back of the panel up.
Yeah.
You bring it back, tidy up the little bits around the edges, and there's always going to be tidying up. Yeah. Anyone that thinks that you're going to buy a robotic sander and it's going to do the edges and everything's going to be picture perfect, it's not. It's a canvas that you've got to put something to. A canvas is nothing until you put something on it.
Yep.
And that's basically what that is.
Did you find the vacuum table to be appropriate, and did it keep your doors flat?
It's nearly got to the stage where it's sucking them through the table. Because I did ask you for a really good vacuum on it. I said to you, because I noticed the other one didn't have that vacuum.
Yep.
And I said, has yours got a vacuum? And you said, yes, it has. It's. I think you had options of 2 vacuums.
Yep.
I went to the bigger vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you really need that bigger vacuum because it sucks it. You can't move that board. You'd literally pick that machine up, you'd break the board.
So what about warp doors? There's always a concern that, hey, warp doors won't work on the other machine. But
they won't.
So what about ours? Like we got some warp doors. What did you think about that?
Well, I was stitched up. The panels that I wanted to do as a demonstration for yours and training aid, they give me totally raw board shaker panels. They cupped.
They cupped. Quite a bit actually. They were a boat at that point.
When you turned up, I said, we're in trouble because we've been stitched up on these boards. And you said, it'll sand them. I said, no chance. Because they were cupped. But you placed it on, and given the machine, it worked in the sense that it vacuumed it.
Yeah.
There was still movement there, but you were able to put a fence here and a fence there, so the machine actually sucked those panels down, and it held that panel.
Yep.
And the machine could still sand it.
Sand it.
Where the other one you couldn't. It was take it away and manually sand it. So and the machine put the pressure down and still sanded. I'd say 90% of that panel up.
Yeah.
And it was only like a 10% clean up. So you knew what you were developing.
Yeah.
You knew what you wanted at the end of it, and you've nailed it. In my books, you've nailed it. To keep trying to get that machine to go to another standard, I don't know what you'd do, because to me, that machine's doing everything that we need to do. Program, you've got all the recipes on there. Shaker door, round and flat panels, it's all there. So we just go in, and that was a big thing for me, was how the interface was user friendly.
Yeah.
Once you've got it set up, it's a bit daunting at first.
Yeah.
It is, it's daunting. But once you've got it set up, I've got one guy in here that he says he works off one brain cell. Well, he could actually run that machine. Because it's only a matter of walking in, hitting the button, and you've got 3 buttons to push. You pause, release.
Level on.
Yeah. 3 buttons, and away he goes.
Yeah.
And he could control that machine all day long, without me having to tell him what to do all day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, There's also another thing that is get like a remote support and software upgrades. Is there that something that I know that many other companies say, oh, you can upgrade
Yes.
the gasket or the vacuum cups, but those are not really upgrades. We upgrade the whole robot and the software by being connected to the internet.
Yes.
Do you think that's helpful? Do you think that's gonna be useful at all? What are your thoughts?
If you think you need to upgrade something, well, it's up to you what you're doing on the background. But I was sitting in my office the other night, and I was ready to go home. You had already gone from setting it up.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, is everything right? Yeah. And you said, leave the machine on. If it's weekend and you're not using, turn the machine off. But other than that, leave it on. And while I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden I heard something, and I looked out of the office, and the machine's going. I thought, hang on. Nippon told me that this thing was right. And I thought, what's going on here? It was actually an upgrade getting done on the machine where you, in the background, were checking perimeters and
Yep.
making sure that machine was right, which is, great. I think the upgrade's brilliant.
Yeah, I think that you keep upgrading your machine. You're not stuck on one singular aspect. You're getting the best of the best every time.
Yes.
So it's not like, oh, you bought the machine in 2026. Now, till the time you don't set off the machine,
Yeah.
you don't get upgraded with technology.
It's all there.
It's all there.
As the opposition, I don't know what they do, but I don't think, look, the upgrading of that machine like that is brilliant to us. And then if there's any issues, you're on back to us. You can control that machine.
Yep.
You can tell me that what we've done wrong, and this is how to fix
Yep.
it. Because I can't see that machine, other than us doing something to it, failing. I don't believe it. It did the veneer without going through the veneer, because it's got constant pressure, and the pressure doesn't change.
Yep.
And that's it works on that axis.
Yep.
So the pressure's there the same all the way. That's why that 180 sandpaper mark, it works.
It works.
If we did that 180 on the bench, you'd have scratches in it.
Yep.
Because we change pressure all the time.
Yep.
Where this is just, and as my painter, and you would have seen when he picked that panel up and commented, he said it's the best paint panel that we've done.
Yep. Yep.
It just brought our standard up another notch
Yep.
on the finish. And he's a good painter, but he said, like, that's just unbelievable. It's just so smooth. That pressure, it's cutting it off even.
Yep.
That panel it's like a sheet of glass,
That's
basically. Where if you're doing it by hand, you still get the waves in it, because like we said, you take the pressure off it. Like our painting was, I thought we had a really good standard on our painting, and we're renowned for it. Well, that there now, it's just it's taken up another notch.
Yeah.
Our customers I've showed that panel to coming in,
Yeah.
are blown away with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see.
Yeah, no, I've showed a few of them coming in, and I said, what do you think of the finish of this now?
Yeah.
And wow, they're blown away. Because
Right.
and it puts their product up another notch.
Yeah.
Because it's, at the end of the day, people don't know we've painted it for them.
Yep.
It's coming out of their factory, so it's pioneering them too.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're happy too. So it will increase business, because word will get around that you've got that standard that nobody else in town is doing.
Yep. No, definitely. But I think, what would be the last things that anyone who's looking at robotic sanding, be it the time saved, what is one thing you'll tell, not one, but what is your final thoughts thinking about anyone who's looking into robotic sanding, who's looking into Vancouver Automation, who's looking into a sanding system altogether? What would be the things that you would tell them to look for, and what are the things that you'll say, why Vancouver Automation?
Do what I did. Go onto YouTube, watch your channel.
Yep.
And I think I've probably watched it 500 times. I just kept watching all your YouTube videos.
Yep.
And was just picking things and looking and trying to see what you were doing on it. And then when I got through that, when I made contact with you, was you said to me, come over and have a look at the machine.
Yep.
And I said, no, look, I've seen enough of it on there, but I knew then that I didn't have to come to Canada.
Yep.
I trusted you enough then.
Yep.
And I think that's what the Aussies do. We put a lot of trust in people.
Yep.
There was good correspondence all the way through.
Thank you.
And even the financial team that were involved in setting it up commented. The whole process with your business was easy. Yeah. So and it's very transparent. Well, they're into it now.
Sending.
Yeah.
See, I told you they're more comfortable with the machine. As even before this is the fastest group that I might have ever seen. That's just
they're easy to it now.
Yeah.
So, and it's good that they're confident to have a go at it, because while you're here, if they do something wrong, then you can tell them this is.
Yeah.
But I think, look,
there's nothing to do wrong. There's nothing you can do to either damage the machine or do anything.
I'm an old dinosaur. These young fellas are good. My grandkids tell me how to operate my phone. So it's a different class coming through now.
Yep.
This is their world.
Yeah, this is them. Exactly.
Yeah. So to get this in for these guys, because they're going to take this business over in a couple of years. I'm on the tail end to retire.
I get it.
So I said, I want to put this machine in, get it going for you, and let you go to another level. It's a no-brainer.
It also gives you more time to focus on getting more sales and business, right? It's not just that, hey, it's done sanding, but it's also like, hey, I can spend more time now talking to customers, getting more business, more sales, because now I don't have to go hand sand outside or fill in the busy hours.
Yeah.
Because the machine is doing what it's supposed to do.
Well, that's where I can see a big gain for us, because we run 2 spray booths.
Yep.
So I've got 1 colour booth, one clear booth.
Clear booth.
Now, if Cody's got to come out from clearing to sand,
Yep.
your production line's stopping in a sense that it's the spray gun that's earning you the money.
Yep.
Because that's the product going out there end door.
Pretty much.
So if you've got a guy that can sand, put a panel on there on the machine, on the Sandex, and he's sanding a shaker one for one booth,
Yep.
and then he's hand sanding the clear for another, the guy in that clear booth doesn't have to come out and sand.
Yep.
And that's where I say that's your employee, right? Because
Yeah.
you've got to have that employee to do that for you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So there's your employee. A lot of people think I'm going to put a robot in and it's going to take my business to the moon. It's not. It never will. Think of it as another employee to the business, but you can tailor that machine
Yep.
to your business to get efficient.
Yep. True. Very true.
And that's why you can have 2 people on that sanding bench still,
Yep.
but one's doing 2 jobs. He's feeding the machine plus sanding, and you've got another guy sanding as well.
Yeah.
Because that's all that this business does.
Yeah, that's
It's a hard business, and who wants to sit there sanding all day? Nobody.
True.
Like, I've cut my teeth on it. These guys are done, and it wears off.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But if you're only having to just touch up a little bit of sanding here and there,
Yeah. Just the edges and stuff.
it's not as boring.
No.
And it's not as repetitious as doing the whole job.
Hold up. Yeah.
It's the same with sanding from raw. Put the raw board onto
Yep.
the machine, the shaker. Nobody likes sanding them. They take days to do because, okay, some guys will come in and say, oh, I can sand that shaker door in 6 minutes, but you won't do that day in, day out. You will collapse.
I found it funny is that you just mentioned that someone would do it in 6 minutes.
Look, I'm quite willing, as I said, I'm quite willing for anyone in this country or New Zealand for that, because we're in a beautiful space.
Oh, amazing. Hobart is beautiful. Guys, just come for the Hobart. Don't even come for the machine.
We've got so much here, so you can come down to Hobart, see the scenery, come and have a look at the machine, and enjoy the state. And then they can get a feel for that machine.
Definitely.
So if they contact you, you can put them in touch with me. I'm quite happy to come in here on a weekend and show them. If I'm in town, I'll come in on the weekend and show them.
Thank you.
That's and I can tell anyone out there, I learned from you for this. I believe in this machine, and I think anyone that's got a business like myself, you will prosper from it. You will prosper.
Thank you, Mark.